footballing season. I have with me Ifreke Iyan, who's a sports analyst in the studio. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you for having me on the show.
Of course. And joining us via the Rule Plus Hangout, we have Tunde Koiki, who joined us from Lagos, Nigeria. Tunde, thank you for joining us. Tunde is with the Beat FM.
Thank you very much.
Of course. So let me just come back to you, kickstart this conversation for us. I mean, of course, we all know the season ended, with the thrilling final between Liverpool and Real Madrid. I mean, but then what else was one of the highlights of the past season?
We'll talk about the leagues, the major leagues in Europe, starting from England, where Manchester absolutely dominated everybody, paying no attention to the anti-Pep gang that says he spent £1 billion to win it, but it was a smashing title win.
Maybe the anti-Pep gangs wouldn't have had anything to say if he won the Champions League. Don't you think so?
Well,
100 billion.
As it appears now, the Champions League is Real Madrid's heritage.
Yeah, of course, they won it 3 times back to back. I mean, in a new format.
Well, let's see what Pep will do next season. If he doesn't get it next season, then we can start to really talk and say what's happening here. Because I mean, that is the king they're flogging him with at Bayern Munich. Because in his 3 years in Bayern Munich, he didn't get past the semi-final stages, So there's still that, criticism about him that he could only do it like on Messi and Barcelona. So let's see what happens next season in Manchester City before we really have an opinion. All
right, let me even get to hear from Tunde. Tunde, for you, what stood out in the past season?
Wow, there are so many actually. So many highlights for what was an absolutely entertaining season. So started with Neymar obliterating the transfer record with a £200 million move from Barcelona to Paris Saint-Germain. There's also Juventus also absolutely dominating the Italian championship, coming from behind to overtake Napoli and win a 7th successive title as well. There's also Manchester City, who also cleaned out England on their way to winning what was a record-breaking title. There's also the rise of Mohamed Salah, who had an absolutely stunning season and who might be in the running to become the second African to be named Ballon d'Or winner. There's so many stories. The story of Östersund, the small club from Sweden, who punched way above their weights, getting into the knockout phase of the Europa League as well. We can go on and on, but there are so many fascinating stories from what was an enthralling European season, and I can't even start to list them all.
Well, talking about Mohamed Salah, I mean, we saw how it went down for him at the Champions League final. I mean, he actually left the pitch after getting injured in tears. I mean, but one of the concerns is also if he will be able to make it to the World Cup. What's the update on that?
Well, the Egyptian Football Federation have quickly tweeted that nothing is broken, nothing is dislocated. What he suffered was just a sprain of ligaments in his shoulder. That's according to the Egyptian FA. Now, this might just be propaganda, in order not to start a mass hysteria in Egypt, because, of course, he's the biggest star. Egypt also qualifying for the FIFA World Cup for the first time in over a quarter of a century. In fact, it's so bad that Salah wasn't even born the last time Egypt qualified for the FIFA World Cup. So there's so much hysteria currently going on in Egypt. People are weeping and wailing. A lot of people are calling for Sergio Ramos, who was involved in the accident that saw him injured, to be punished by FIFA. Even the Egyptian president has promised to get him the best medical care that Egypt can afford. They also wish him speedy recovery as well. But if we were to go by what the Egyptian Football Federation have officially released, it is just a sprain and it should be back in no time.
All right, I'll come back to you in a bit. So Tunde also mentioned, the century and all of that, and we understand in the Dutch Eredivisie. I mean, the winners, I think PSV there about.
Yeah, PSV won the league. Let's quickly talk about last season, where Feyenoord won it for the first time this century. Hats off to Giovanni van Bronckhorst. That was, a massive achievement for them. But this year, PSV won. I mean, it's basically a duopoly in Holland. It's between PSV Eindhoven and Ajax Amsterdam. And they finished in the top 2, and Feyenoord is going back to Europa League this season.
Yeah. So, Tunde also made mention of the Italian league, where he talked about how Juventus came to overtake Napoli. But Napoli, kudos to them. They finished with 91 points.
Heartbreaking stuff from
I haven't seen any team that has finished second, has finished with 91 points and not even win the league.
Heartbreaking stuff from Maurizio Sarri. I mean, if you saw them in the Champions League, where the world got to appreciate the beauty of their football, they're a different force entirely. But, Juve, they just have a way, like Real Madrid in the Champions League, they have a way of just getting this thing done, And up to the last 3 fixtures of the Serie A, you almost thought that Napoli were in the running for a shock win, but somehow Juve came back and they won the league.
So, I mean, that would also bring into question, I mean, the competitiveness, you know, of the European leagues. I mean, because it's at times it's just kind of, you never can tell, but sometimes you just can tell. I mean, for instance, the French league, there was a time Olympique Marseille, you know, Olympique Lyonnais as well, you know, they were just dominating, you know, and winning back-to-back titles. I mean, it's happening again in the French league. Juventus has been winning for quite a long time now. So how competitive are these leagues?
They're not really competitive. I mean, it can basically call who's going to win the major leagues next season, except for England. Well, again, you suspect Manchester City might blow everybody apart. But
I mean, we saw Leicester
in France, you know,
back.
PSG are going to march to the league. In Germany, you know, Bayern Munich are going to take it. In Italy, you know, Juve are going to win it. So it's, I don't know. They've gotten there and they found a way to stay there. And, you know, they attract big money and they're able to get the players they want, you know. So, yeah. So the challenge for them season in, season out is how well they do in Europe, you know, which is what Allegri is really trying to achieve next season by snubbing Arsenal to stay at Juve, to really have another goal at the Champions League next season. Because, I mean, he's bored of winning Serie A. You can call it in your sleep that he's going to win it next season, you know, so.
Let's see how that will play out. But Tunde, let me again come back to you. Talking about the dominance of these football clubs. I mean, how will that monopoly be broken? Because if you look at the fact that they have a lot of money, like Ifrika is saying, they have a lot of money to buy the best players, sometimes from even, you know, the lower clubs. When will we see this dominance broken at the clubs we have, I mean, in all these leagues?
Well, to be honest, Victor, that can only change when the other clubs decide to make a concerted effort to challenge the status quo, and by that they have to find new investors and be able to reinvest in their squad and build up stronger squads. Because as it is now, there's only one horse race in Belgium, it's one horse race in France, it's more or less a 2 or 3 horse race in Spain. So all these leagues that I mentioned, they have to find new investors and get into the league, get into positions whereby they can challenge in the league. I also mentioned Italy as well. It's also a one-horse race in Italy as well, where Juventus are winning 7 titles. But unfortunately, the way it is structured in certain leagues, for example, in the German Bundesliga, foreigners are not encouraged to own a club. 51% of the club must always be owned by, I think, is it the fans. Foreign investors are not really appreciated. So that doesn't give leeway for anyone in the Bundesliga to challenge the dominance of Bayern Munich. In Italy, unfortunately, for decades, there have never been true investments in Italian football. Stadiums are crumbling. Facilities are very poor. Only few teams, I think only Udinese and Juventus own their stadiums. Roma are trying to build their stadium now. So there's a lot of money that requires to be invested in Italian football. Juventus saw that many years ago and were light years ahead of the rest of the competition, building and owning their own stadium, controlling their own finances, making sure that they remain, without a shadow of doubt, the top team in Italy. It's a bit easier in Spain, where 3 teams are in it. Of course, you know that Atletico Madrid now have a bigger stadium, the Wanda Metropolitano Stadium. They also have good resources that allow them to challenge the front runners, that's Barcelona and Real Madrid, effectively. But in order to ensure that these leagues do not continue to become a farce, that's the Bundesliga, the French League, and also the Italian Serie A, major investments have to be made by clubs into their playing personnel and structures.
All right, thank you very much. But just in wrapping up, I mean, we all know Nigeria has qualified for the World Cup and they've been preparing, you know, so much. So what would you think will be Nigeria's chances? Do you think we're going to go 1, 2, or 3 steps further from where we were, from that stage that we got to in the past? Just in wrapping up.
You asking me?
Yes, please.
To be honest, if Nigeria qualifies from that group that has Croatia, who finished third at the FIFA World Cup in 1998, Iceland, who are just qualifying for only their second major international tournament, but have been regarded by many as a growing force, and Argentina, 2-time world champions. If Nigeria qualify from that group at all, that in itself is an achievement.
Thank you very much, Tunde Koiki, sports presenter at the Beat 99.9 FM. Thank you for your thoughts on the program.
Thank you.
Well, do you share in his, I don't know how to put it now, is it optimism or pessimism? I mean, do you share his view in terms of Nigeria qualifying?
I'd rather be realistic about Nigeria's chances at the 2018 World Cup. I think if we can get past, I think our most crucial game is against Croatia. If we can get anything from that game, our next game will be against Iceland. And then the last game of the group will be against Argentina. If we're able to get anything from the Croatia game, so it will set us up nicely for the Iceland game, and then whatever we can scrap from the Argentina game. We are hoping that by the Argentina game we would have qualified. Argentina would have qualified, and then they'll take it easy on us. Maybe rest Messi, and then we get into the second stage.
I don't think I see that happening, because a lot of teams would want to have maximum points just in case.
Well, I mean, they could be top of the group by that time.
Yeah.
You know, because if Nigeria and Croatia play a draw, you know, by the third game, some teams are having 1 point, 4 points, so they probably have 6. You know, so there's nothing to stress themselves about. They could just leave the game and maybe get a draw, and then we qualify together. They qualify as first place, and we finish up runners up.
Oh, well, I would hope that we finish first place, so we don't get a tough opponent in the second half.
Well, every team in the tournament wants to win the cup. So.
Anyways, thank you for joining us on the program and sharing your thoughts. I mean, we'll be looking forward to the 2018-2019 season and see, you know, how all these teams will play out, who will win the Champions League, who will, again, like you said, all those 2-horse and 1-horse leagues.
There might not be major surprises.
Well, I mean, Leicester did it some years back, so let's hope to see many more of those surprises in the various leagues around the world. But then, thank you again, for joining us on the program today. We'll take a break, and we'll be back with a different discussion. Please stay with us.